Without even realizing it, even your most powerful energy can be directed against yourself. You see it everywhere. People who think they're manifesting, people who think they're being a conscious creator, the operant power of their reality, but then start to feel like the more they've learned, the more they do, nothing is changing. And that's not because they're doing it wrong. It's because they're starting to outsource their power. And it comes to realizing that you are so powerful that you can actually start to give the very power that you have away. And I know I have. Sometimes you wonder, how can I know all the principles? How can I recite Neville, watch all of this content, know the principles, feel like I'm doing all the work, following the formula, but still not getting the results that I want? And we're going to be diving into that in this episode.
Hey lovelies, welcome back to another episode. I'm Leah.
I'm Tia.
And we are your manifestation sisters, helping you to embody the identity that makes money, life and upgrades inevitable by becoming the wealthy woman at the center of it all. And when we talk about wealth, we don't just mean money, we mean wealth in love, success, health, all areas, and having it all. So let's get into this episode. So let's talk about outsourcing your power and what this actually looks like. Manifestation isn't about following steps. It's about where you're sourcing your energy. Because wherever you place your awareness, that is your true power. And that's because consciousness is the only true reality. Who you believe you are, what you say I am, right? So there are 5 types of people that outsource their power. And for the sake of this, we wanted to be a bit more comical with it, and we've named these people. So if any of this is your names, no offense. And these people are unknowingly sabotaging themselves by giving their power away to the world around them. So let's meet them. So first up, we have Technique Tom. And Technique Tom gives his power away to techniques, and techniques are just tools. We all know this. But if he doesn't do his technique, or if he misses his technique, the whole world is ending. And he thinks the technique is the one that's creating for him, when really he's the one that gives the power to the technique. He is the power, essentially, right? He's the operant power. It does not work itself. But he thinks, I have to do this technique, and if I don't do this technique, I'm not going to get what I want. Because we know these tools are not the source. You are the source of everything. So your power lies with you.
And then next we have Weaponised Wendy. And I've met a couple Weaponised Wendys in my time. I've coached a couple of you, and she knows everything. She's read every book. She knows every concept. She watches every video. She just wants to feel motivated by the content she consumes. Just like that dopamine hit. You watch the content, she gets the dopamine hit. She gets the reinforcement of, yeah, I know this, I know my shit. She wants to feel inspired or motivated by others, but she cannot motivate herself for the change. And what we need to understand is competence in the principles, competence in knowing the laws, understanding the information, doesn't mean competence in embodiment. You can be, like Neville says, the hearer without being the doer. Are you the hearer or the doer of the word? And that is the trap she stays in, because you consume all the content, but you're not changing your beingness. You're not changing who you identify as.
Yeah, and I think relying on like success stories or things outside of you for motivation is fleeting, because
you're always grasping after.
Yeah, you're always grasping after something. So you have to be the one that's sick of your own shit. Like,
yeah,
if things in your life aren't changing, but you're relying on everything outside of you to give you that motivation, you have to be the one that's disciplined enough to say enough is enough. I'm the one that's going to make the change. I don't need these things outside of me in order to be the change. It's my identity first, right? So it's okay to seek motivation. We all do it. We all like to watch videos and be inspired. But if you're relying on it, then the thing needs to change. You need to take a look at why you can't motivate yourself along, right? And next we have Rules Rachel.
Stand up.
So Rachel is someone that looks outside of herself by all these rules on conditions of why she can't have what she wants. And she essentially is like, okay, that's a rule. I can't have it because of this. I can't have it until that. I have to have all these things in order to get what I want. I need to have these qualifications. I need to be this religion. I need to live in this area. Like, it's all these rules that we place on ourselves. I need to do something a certain way. It has to be this way. Your way is the only way. Your way is the right way. So it's whatever you decide. You are the authority in your reality. You are the rule maker. You are the one that decides everything. You are the operant power. You're the one creating everything. So if you look outside yourself and you give the meaning, like, I can't have my manifestation until this is in order, until that is in order, until everything else is lined up, then that's going to be your reality. That's what you're going to create. That's what's going to be reflected back to you, because you've conditioned everything. Everything is now a rule. So, you know, you're believing that you have to be conditioned to societal standards or like rules set by people outside of you. You know, we can have rules set by us from like parents or friends or whatever, and we follow those rules, and then you awaken to it and you're like, actually, I don't have to do this.
No.
I can actually do what I want, you know?
Yeah, because really living under those external rules and regulations keeps you trapped in that box. It's like conflicting and contradictory both at the same time, of like, you can't contradict the belief system that you have. Your computer can't overwrite the data that you have set. So it's like every time you try step out, it brings you right back in, and you start going back to following the rules and keeping yourself small, because you've got all of these regulations and societal conditioning that you think you must follow.
Absolutely. When really you can just create a new rule, and that's going to be your new baseline, your new set point.
Decide. And then you've got Signs Sally. She's waiting for all the confirmation from the universe, numerology, tarot readers, psychic, angel numbers, moon water before moving. The identity trap is she's stuck in waiting. She's stuck in permission. She's stuck in oftentimes looking to these things and accepting them as verbatim of her reality. She doesn't have the discernment of, do I want this to be true? But yet she's read that it's the 9th year and the stars are aligned and this is going to be a hard year for you.
Her and Rachel are like best friends, by the way.
And what that does is your own identity, your own discernment of what you want and who you are choosing to be can't form outside of those signs and synchronicities, because you're constantly in a period of waiting, of permission, of I can't have a good year because the stars say I can't, essentially. And without anchoring yourself into the decision of what you are choosing, you've already made your mind up from the external, from what someone's told you to think. And we're not saying you can't do these things. We're not saying that these things can't have a place in your reality. Ultimately, you are the deciding factor. But it's when you start outsourcing your power and not having, like we said, the level of discernment to actually, do I want to believe that? Because you're unable to have the conscious awareness to pull yourself out of the pattern that is disempowering you.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember being in my journey, like I would go to psychics, tarot readers, but what I wasn't realising in that these were just all reflecting me.
Yeah.
That was it.
Exactly.
So I could go to a tarot reader or a psychic, but they were just going to reflect where I was in my state of consciousness. That was it. So we're not saying you can't use those things as reinforcement to see where you are. You absolutely can. But it's when you're giving your power to it. Do you remember when we done Moon War as well?
Yes, and we told ourselves we had to drink it every day, otherwise we weren't going to get our manifestation.
And it started to go off. This is what I was not doing good. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's the reflection, and you're showing yourself you don't believe in your own power.
Yeah, and it's like the meaning we were giving to it. So like, if you think like, I'm going to do this moon water ritual and this is going to get me my manifestation, you have so much belief in that. That can be true for some people, because
it's not the power in the tool or technique or the science. You are the power.
Absolutely.
And it's just the reflection, like you said.
And then Middle Mandy. And Middle Mandy, she is so concerned about the how and the when, and she wants the results. And she's really trying to micromanage every part of her unfolding. She's like, how? I need to figure this all out. I need to know how it's going to happen, which leads you in a state of, I don't have it. Because if you have something already, you're not worried about how it's going to manifest. Yes, we can think about, I wonder how this is going to manifest, out of like curiosity, because we do it, right? Because we know there's many paths to something that can unfold. And we already know that creation is finished. So when we have the desire for something, there are already many paths and roads mapped out of how this thing can come to be. That's not our job.
Yeah.
But Mandy's trying to make it her job, you know, because she's so concerned about the unfolding of it, the middle part, the bridge of events, as we call it as well. Like, how's it going to happen? When? Who? What? Why? Where? And she is just so concerned with that she's causing separation between her and her manifestation. She's not claiming I am. She's claiming I am not. I don't have, because I need to know how it's going to unfold. So, and I think many of us have been here. You know, I can definitely relate to wanting to know, like, how is this going to unfold? Because our mind is very like logical sometimes, and it's like, it needs that evidence. It needs something to know, to keep you safe, isn't it? Yeah. It's like, it needs
control,
to like control.
Exactly.
Yeah, it needs to control. So it's going to try to protect you. So it's like, I need to know how this is going to come about.
I need to orchestrate every possible avenue in which
Yeah.
It will come in order for me to feel in control, in order for me to feel safe.
Absolutely. Because it's like, well, what if I don't get what I want? Because previous experiences showed me that I didn't get what I want. So I need to know how this is going to unfold. But when you drop that how, it does release pressure. You know, well, it puts the power back into your own hands because you're no longer outsourcing it to like something externally or things, places, the hows, the whens.
And 9 times out of 10, if you reverse engineer all of your manifestations, they don't come in the way that you thought.
No.
Sometimes you have like, yes, you're manifesting through, but it's never the specific circumstance that you thought. It's always in a way that you could have not orchestrated. So why not make the journey easier for yourself? Absolutely. And just claim your I amness, live in that consciousness. It's the observation, like we always said, of the thing that you want, of that identity that collapses the wave, that brings it, that collapses the gap, that essentially makes your 3D materialize in the form of that which you want. It's not the observation of I am not. Because in that moment, you are either operating from the state of I am or I am not.
And identity leads and reality follows. So when you're in that middle, that in between, you know, the unfolding part, it is really trying to like, I don't need to worry about how. Some way, somehow, not my job. My job is to live in the end, live in the wish fulfilled of having what I want and keep returning to that state. And if I fall out of that state, return back to it and claim who I am. Exactly. Then we also have Time Tony. And Time Tony is worried about the time of the manifestation because he sees titles and videos out there, get this in 24 hours, get this in 3 days, get this before Christmas, get this before Valentine's, you know, get this before your birthday. So the power is going outside of you because you're worried about time. But we know that creation is already finished, like we said. So all there is now. All that we have is the present moment. So every time you declare yourself to be something, that is in this now moment. It's not when this thing comes, right? It's not how long it takes. No, it doesn't matter how long it takes. And even Neville talks about this. The appointed hour where he says a horse takes 12 months, baby takes 9 months, chicken takes 21 days. It doesn't really matter. None of that really matters. It's about you staying true to your identity of who you're claiming to be. So it's not worrying about how long something is taken. When you're claiming a certain identity of yourself, you're being it now. So you're not really caring how long it's going to take because you know it's inevitable.
The only thing time does is create separation. When you're feeling like I need to change my self-concept in 2 weeks, or I need to manifest my SP in 30 days, I need the money in 24 hours, your only observation and the person you're practicing and rehearsing that moment is conscious on the fact you do not have, is conscious on the fact that time is standing in between that which you want. Your awareness of time is what makes it real. Consciousness is the only reality. So you therefore cannot be in the state of I have this thing and be in the state of I don't have it and I need to shift and move into it in this period of time at the same time.
Yeah, because what collapses time is the present moment.
Exactly.
That's what collapses time. So every time you decree yourself as something, beingness, that closes the gap. Like you are it now. And it even Neville says you are already that which you desire to be, but your refusal to believe it is why you do not see the change. So when we're outsourcing our power to all of these things, we're not claiming ourselves to be the identity now.
So if you're sat in any of these personas of focusing on time, outsourcing your power, tools, techniques, focusing on the middle, the only thing that these things do is keep you in a state of comfort, in a state of familiar of not having, the identity of not being conscious of the version of you that already has it. And when you're depending on the external validation, the one thing that you reinforce over and over through doing all these things and being that version of you is I don't have it. I do not have my own level of discernment. I do not have power on my own. I need to outsource from all of these external things in order to feel powerful instead of claiming, deciding, and being that version of you. So where does your actual power lie? In your identity, your assumptions, your state, your nervous system, that inner knowing which moves you past the action, which moves you past the thing that you need to do, but rather than be. Who you mentally rehearse and practice yourself as, and who you are conscious of being is what shifts you, because you get who you be. Consciousness is the only reality, and where you place that attention is where you place that energy. So therefore, you cannot experience a reality that is not claimed, and therefore who you are not being first. Once you start to consciously choose, like we always say, identity leads reads, reality follows, who you are being, the identity you're anchoring yourself into, not from outsourcing to time, circumstances, tarot readers. That is you taking your power back. That is you becoming a powerful manifestor, because you realize that you are the power. It's not all of these things giving you the power, but who you claim to be. And I know I've been there too, where you think the tool is the thing that's manifesting. You think that you need to be focused on the how. But once you remove all those things, the only thing left is you. The only thing commanding your reality is you. And you realize that they're not a need, they're a choice, that they're not a requirement. They may help you get into the state, but underneath all them layers is who you claim to be and who you show up as and who you are every single day.
So the reminder is this, that you are the power. You are the source. You are the one that calls all of the shots. Your power is not outside of you. So if you're outsourcing your power, remind yourself, I am the operant power. I'm the one that calls all the shots here. I am the power of everything. I give the meaning to everything. I am the source of it all. Because my reality is just me and it's reflecting my consciousness. So I change myself within and my reality changes without. My power is with me. So we'll lastly leave you with this. If I never needed to outsource my power again, what would I choose to know or what would I choose to believe? And that's your real manifestation power.
The practical shift in that, when you know you are the source, is deciding who you are, deciding who you get to be. Stop the technique hopping, stop the outsourcing. Hold that state of that version of you that has it. And if you don't know how to do this, the Be Her Now Masterclass is a great place to integrate that. Then you need to start expecting your desires, because not from if you've done a tool technique that day, but because it's who you're claiming and who you already are. Then normalize it, normalize receiving it, practice being that version of you, not because you've had to tick all these things off, not because you have to live in the perfect state, but it's just because it's who you are now. You don't need to outsource your power to the new year, to do New Year's resolutions, to becoming a new version of yourself. You don't need to wait. You can simply decide as a decision that you already are a person you desire to be. All these things, the angel numbers, the tarot cards, the technique, the tools, the time, none of these things that you're outsourcing, the vision boards, can outsource a shaky identity. You change who you are. Identity first, reality follows. Is the true power of you claiming and deciding what you get to have.
Absolutely. So we're going to end the episode here. We hope you liked it. Comment any takeaways that you have, and if you want to work with myself or Tia, the links are in the description box down below, and we'll see you in another episode.